Hello again, patients. This is Dr. Chad Rolland from Rolland Chiropractic in Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, coming to you in June of 2020, sharing with you some information about inflammation. And inflammation is both good and bad. I have a number of details to share with you, so I will try to go through it quickly, but I'll also try to share some of the information and details with you in a personal way, so that you can apply this to your own circumstance. I do have a fair amount of information to read, so hopefully it won't be too boring in that regard, but I think if you stick with it, you'll see how inflammation affects our health, how it starts out as being a good thing, but when it's in a chronic way and long-term way, it is very negative and it creates long-term chronic health problems. So let's get started with that. Inflammation is a natural response of the body to handle stress. Examples of that would be a traumatic stress from an accident or an injury that creates a wound or a lump or a tear. Could also be sunburn. Repetitive stress like exercise or work that creates muscle or joint soreness. Toxic stresses like allergies, an insect bite, drugs, smoking, or an unhealthy eating that create irritation. Emotional stress like worrying or an argument that causes you to feel unwell. Inflammation is also the body's first line of defense against infections, colds, and flu, and the like. Now, when our body encounters an injurious stress, it responds in a healthy way to contain and then to heal the problem by loosening local tissues and the barrier that separates us from the outside, allowing the excess blood and especially white blood cells now to permeate and surround the area. Local symptoms will occur such as pain, heat, swelling, and redness. If all goes well though, that response will stop any harmful invaders, an infection, and promote healing and restoration of the tissues. But if the problem is ongoing, such as repetitious movements at work, poor eating habits, anger, an unresolved infection, or an injury, etc., the inflammatory chemicals continue in that local area and then begin to permeate throughout the body, affecting the blood vessels, the organs, and the nerves, creating a chronic, unhealthy environment. In many ways, inflammation is like a campfire. If you have a nice little campfire, it helps to keep you cozy and warm on that cold night, but if it gets beyond the fire ring and begins a forest fire, it burns out of control, creating a lot of damage and havoc. And this is something similar to what inflammation is in our body. The inflammatory response creates temporary cell damage in order to control the problem and begin healing. Unfortunately, poor healing or a chronic unresolved stressor, like we talked about, will continue to inflict injury to the region and over time, overreacting and cause systemic imbalance and contribute to degenerative health problems, such as obesity, arthritis, cardiovascular problems, asthma, diabetes, irritable bowel, Crohn's, celiac problems, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, also autoimmune problems like multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, Alzheimer's, also cancers, and other types of related problems. All are degenerative health problems that are influenced in a negative way by chronic arthritis. Chronic inflammatory symptoms then begin to show up, such as fatigue, sores, fever, rash, chest pain, anxiety and depression, abdominal pains, joint pain, brain fog, food sensitivities, skin conditions like psoriasis, digestive issues, etc. Now, you may not have all of these symptoms, but these are symptoms that are your body telling you, I have a problem, I'm working on resolving it. And in fact, skin conditions, our skin is the largest immune organ, and our body uses sores or different types of skin problems where, like psoriasis, where it's actually, the theory is trying to push those toxins out of the body, right through the barrier or of the skin in order to get it out. But because we don't resolve the issue, it becomes a chronic, ongoing problem. Now, inflammatory markers can be measured in a number of ways with a blood test, and that's beyond today's video to get into, but that's something we can look at and say, where is this coming from and what can you do, and how can you measure the different level of inflammation that you have and the risk that you are at. Now, how can you minimize the harmful effects of stress and long-term damage from chronic inflammation? First, what you're going to do is identify sources of that stress that cause inflammation in your body and work to reduce them. Sounds obvious, but while you can't avoid all accidents, for example, you can wear a helmet or other protective equipment and use rehab techniques for injuries such as ice therapy. While you can't avoid all repetitious activities, you can modify your ergonomics, you can use conditioning exercises, and you can take breaks, whether you're doing home chores or whether you're at work. And while you can't avoid all toxins or emotional stressors, for example, you can stop smoking, you can stop smoking, you can take only essential medications, and then you could lessen exposure to stressful people and situations. Now, moving on from there, what's the next step I could do? So I'm trying to identify stressors and reduce them. Second, learn what lifestyle choices promote inflammation, encouraging chronic degenerative changes to develop within your body. Remember that chronic changes in our body do not occur overnight. They happen over months, more likely over years or even decades. And that's what we need to be aware of that. Here's a list of some injurious, pro-inflammatory things that we need to be aware of. First of all, illnesses. Illnesses like heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune disorders. We just listed off a number of them a minute ago. Arthritis, lung disease, gut and digestive problems, asthma, periodontitis, sinusitis, allergies, and chronic infections like Lyme disease, Epstein-Barr, etc. Lifestyle issues like excessive exercise. Yes, too much exercise can cause you chronic, prolonged inflammation. Dehydration can be a problem. Lack of sleep, obesity, anger and anxiety. Yes, cortisol from those emotional responses lowers your immune function over time and creates other types of problems. Also be aware of toxic exposures like pollution, smoking and tobacco use, alcohol, some common and even special medications, chemicals in some household and personal care products. Also be aware of pro-inflammatory foods, including those with sugar or corn syrup, artificial sweeteners such as aspartame, also sweets such as soda, candy, desserts, many foods that have, again, sugar in them, man-made trans fats and hydrogenated fats, also deep-fried foods. Be aware of highly processed or refined foods, especially those that are white. How do I remember that? White, such as white bread, white pasta, white rice, white potatoes. All of those create a type of inflammation in our body. Be aware of genetically modified grains, particularly wheat. That's one of the biggest ones, but we also have soy and corn in the United States. Be aware of vegetable oils and high amounts of omega-6 oils, like those, again, from corn and soy and canola. Be aware of dairy products. They are pro-inflammatory, especially and more so when they are powdered, such as in pancake mix, or whipped, like is in ice cream, and you can think of other examples. Be aware of pickled and smoked foods and red and processed meats. Be aware also of gluten, casein, and MSG. I'm going to include a link on the bottom of my page on my website at rollandhealth.com, and that's going to be by Dr. Mark Hyman of the Cleveland Clinic. He has a good overview of 10 reasons to quit coffee, and he'll explain how that contributes to health problems and contributes to inflammation and metabolic syndrome and diabetes. Next, learn what lifestyle choices reduce inflammation and promote healing throughout your body. Building these choices into your life will also help to lessen the effects of inflammation when unavoidable stressors or illnesses, like in spring of 2020, are encountered. Here's a list of some healthy anti-inflammatory things. And if you can help set your baseline at a low level, in other words, the chronic inflammation in the base that's in your body, then when you have these pro-inflammatory things occur, whether it's a very stressful encounter emotionally, whether it's an illness, whether it's stress at your work with a lot of repetitious movement, then you will have a lot of margin or capacity for your body to handle that increased inflammation. You'll also have healthy behaviors and choices to help get it under control and reduce it. If your inflammation is already at a very high level, then just a little bit more can push you into a state of severe, even acute illness. What type of healthy anti-inflammatory things are we talking about? You probably can make a list of yourself, but let's go through the list I put together. First of all, relaxation and reducing stress. Finding ways to do that in your life. And it could be hobbies, it could be socialization. There's just different things that you can come up with. And there's many videos about that. Next, exercising on a regular basis moderately. Not strenuously, although strenuous exercise is certainly good for most people on occasion, but just gentle walking is a very good exercise, or swimming on a regular basis that helps to reduce and moderate inflammation. Sleeping well. Sleep is a very important factor that many Americans don't get enough of. That 7.5 to 9 hours of quality sleep really helps your body heal and maintain a low level of inflammation. Hydrating fully with pure water. Proper hydration is very important for this particular issue. Taking time to eat healthy, and what I mean by that is to sit down, to relax, to put away the TV, to not have an argument, to chew your food thoroughly so that your digestion can have time to do its job in a healthy way. So eating healthy. Then playing and socializing with your family and friends. That helps reduce stress and reduces inflammation. Nurturing your gut health. And there's many parts and aspects to that. Limiting your toxic exposures, quitting tobacco and other drugs, choosing healthy personal care and cleaning products, and eating lots of vegetables and some fruits. Now, especially eating leafy greens, because fiber is key. So we want to look at spinach and bok choy and chard and the brassica family, which has kale, broccoli, collards, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, of course cauliflower in it. Also things like parsley, celery, onions, beets, pineapple, cherries, apples, peppers, citrus, avocados, grapes, green tea, and spices like garlic, ginger, turmeric, red chili peppers, and healthy fats like coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil, and omega-3 fats. Those can be found in walnuts, almonds, chia seeds, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, seaweed, and algae, also sardines and anchovies. Don't forget vegetarian or vegetable sources of plant-based proteins like beans and legumes, such as lentils, chickpeas, black beans, and there's many other plant-based proteins which create a lot of fiber, have a lot of nutrition, and help reduce inflammation in your body. Finally, learn what supplements help to manage systemic inflammation and promote healthy balance and encourage long-term function and wellness in your body. Here's a list of some of the helpful supplements that we use regularly for patients, myself included, in our office. Vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin D, MSM. Alpha-lipoic acid is another good anti-inflammatory supplement. N-acetylcysteine, also quercetin. All of these you have heard about if you've been listening to nutritional support that helps with different types of viral illnesses, such as the one, helps your body cope with them, such as the one in 2020. Also, resveratrol, omega-3 oils, black currant seed oil, proteolytic enzymes taken between meals generally is best. One of those would be bromelain, which is a pineapple extract, and it helps reduce inflammation in your body when taken between meals. Pre and probiotics, again, to restore and help revitalize the gut flora. Garlic, ginger, turmeric, bromelain, I mentioned it earlier, magnesium, chlorophyll. See how chlorophyll ties in is the green from the plants we were talking about earlier. You could take a supplement or you can eat green vegetables. Of course, eating green vegetables is a better way to go and it will save you money. Spirulina and chlorella, the two seaweed extracts, are very helpful and nutritious for lowering inflammation. Cinnamon, CoQ10, boswellia, zinc, bilberry, echinacea, and hemp CBD oil are all supplements that can be taken to help reduce inflammation in your body, and of course they provide many other benefits as well. If you have topical inflammation like a sprained ankle or arthritis, using ice is very helpful, as are topicals like the CBD cream that we just talked about, an essential oil like lavender oil, biofreeze, which is going to have boswellia and arnica montana in it, witch hazel, comfrey, which comes in a salve, and also a topical form of MSM. There's many others, but those are at least a handful or two that give you ideas and readily available supplements that you can take internally and that you can apply externally in order to help with different types of inflammatory conditions and problems that you have. Reducing your overall inflammation can help you to feel better. It also reduces your risk of acute inflammatory symptoms from an illness and lessens your risk of degenerative diseases.